In this video, I want to share with you an example of what the perfect startup game looks like. Think about it as the Ocean 12, if you've seen the movie of the startup game, how it typically works. So Google, we'll take the Google example, which was founded by Larry Page and Sergey Brin in 1995. So they came up with that search engine idea, and you can see how it looked like back then. In 1997, the domain Google was registered. It started really in a garage in 1998. So Google operated from Susan Wojcicki's garage, who's now the CEO of YouTube. And in 1999, so a few years later, so it took a few years to get the funding. They got $25 million of VC funding from Sequoia Capital and Kleiner Perkins. So two major investment firms from the Silicon Valley. So it took several years until it happens. It doesn't happen overnight, but that's the beginnings of Google. Let's look at the next few years. So in 2004 they did an IPO for 12.6 million shares at $85 a share. In 2006, so let's go back on the IPO. So initial public offering, that's basically this privately owned company owned by the early investors. They decide to sell the company in the stock market, so for everyone to be able to buy those shares. And the investors make the return on their money, and then new investors come in, and depending on the future success of the company, will also either benefit or not from this IPO. So in 2006, now Google is a big company. They start doing acquisition to add product to their portfolio. And by the way, Google is no longer just a search engine. They have many products right now that it would be very take a long time to list them right now, but look it up. But they have many products, of which YouTube is one of them, which is the #1 platform I think in the world right now for video streaming. So you can see I've put a picture that I took myself actually of the Google headquarters in Mountain View. Really nice location. You can bike from building to building when you have a meeting. They have jacuzzi outside. They have meeting rooms where you can basically with climbing walls. You have like skateboard ramps. And I had the luck to meet one of the Google's employees over there. And it was very inspiring for me. So in 2009, Google opens their own Google Venture Fund, so an incubator internally to be able to nurture innovation from internally. And they renamed themselves also to Alphabet at some point on the stock market. But the key thing here is like in 2016, the share is now worth $850. I haven't checked recently, but it's probably even higher than that now. So imagine that you bought some shares at $85 in 2004. Well, by 2016, you had a 10x factor on your investment. So if you bought, $85,000 dollar of shares, you would have $850,000 shares right now. So big return on investment. The revenue now is close of $90 billion, with a capitalization valuation capitalization from the stock market of $565 billion. Owned mostly by institutional funds, where people put their retirement, 401ks, funds, banks, all this stuff. Employees about 57,000, and Sergey and Larry, the founders, are now worth both roughly $40 billion. So this is the perfect startup game. It doesn't happen often. That would be the typical unicorn perfect story. So, but again, I'm going to cover in future slides, the different stats. It doesn't happen all the time. You can still dream of having this maybe happen to your startup, but it's, less likely. But I do hope it would happen for you. So, thanks.